When you talk about the most dominant big man in the NBA, two names always come up: Nikola Jokic and Domantas Sabonis. They've totally redefined what a center can do. But when these two titans actually clash, who really comes out on top? Welcome to News Shortcut. Today, we're digging into one of the most exciting rivalries in basketball.
First up, let's just be clear. We're not talking about any two players here. These guys are the cornerstones of their franchises, and they've completely changed what it means to be a center in the modern game.
So in one corner, you got Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. You know, just a three-time league MVP. No big deal. And in the other, Domantas Sabonis of the Sacramento Kings, a guy who's a regular at the All-Star game, known for his incredible all-around skill.
They're both perfect examples of the modern point center. We're talking big men who can score, rebound, and run an offense just like an elite point guard. And that's exactly why their head-to-head matchups are always a masterclass in skill.
All right, so when they've actually gone head-to-head, what do the numbers tell us? Let's dive into the history of their rivalry.
Okay, so check this out. They've faced each other 22 times in their careers, and all of those have been in the regular season. That's a pretty solid sample size, right? It's more than enough to start seeing who really has the edge when they match up.
And honestly, the numbers tell a pretty clear story. Jokic has a big advantage in wins, with a 14-8 record. He's also the more dominant scorer and playmaker in these games, while Sabonis does hold a slight edge on the boards. But still, it shows Jokic's overall impact on the game's outcome has been way bigger.
And this pattern of just individual dominance, it gets even clearer when you break it down game by game. Jokic has outscored Sabonis in 18 of the 22 meetings. He's been the better passer in 17 of them. So it's not just that his team wins more, he's consistently putting up better individual numbers.
So the history seems pretty cut and dry, right? But what happens when the rivalry gets thrown a massive curveball?
Because in their most recent matchup, the whole context just completely changed. The playing field was suddenly, and I mean dramatically, not even close to level.
See, heading into their last game, the Sacramento Kings got hit hard by injuries. Their star center, Domantas Sabonis, was out with a knee injury, and he wasn't the only one. Key guys like De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter were also sidelined.
With Sacramento missing 3 of its most important players, this particular game, well, it turned into a very different kind of story.
The Kings were forced to roll out a total makeshift lineup. To fill those huge gaps, they had to give big minutes to young players and reserves, basically throwing them into the fire against the powerhouse Denver Nuggets.
This was a classic trial by fire moment. And sure, it's valuable experience for those guys, but let's be real, it meant the Kings were in for a very, very tough night against one of the league's best teams and its MVP.
And with his main rival out of the picture, Nikola Jokic took full advantage. Of course he did. He put on an absolute clinic, just dominating the game from start to finish and easily dropping 36 points.
And get this, he wasn't just scoring, he was ridiculously efficient, shooting an incredible 87.5% from the field. He barely missed. The Kings' depleted frontcourt just had no answer for him at all.
The final score pretty much reflects that dominance. The Nuggets cruised to a 136-105 victory. It was a 31-point blowout that perfectly shows what happens when one side is at full strength and the other is seriously handicapped.
So, what's the big takeaway from a lopsided game like this? What does it really mean for the future of the Jokic-Sabonis rivalry?
Well, for the Kings, it was a harsh reality check, but also really valuable experience for their developing players. For the Nuggets, it was a powerful display of their championship level. But for the rivalry itself, it kind of just leaves us all waiting for the next real chapter, you know, when both teams are actually healthy.
And this game is the perfect reminder that when we're all debating who's better, you can't just look at the final score or a stat sheet. The context, the real story behind the numbers, that's what truly matters.
Which brings us to our final question for you. When Sabonis and Jokic are both healthy and their teams are at full strength, who do you think takes the win? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe to News Shortcut for more. Thanks for watching.